and welcome to the first episode of Distant Nights. This is our Starships and Laserguns game. This is Alpha build 0.7.6, build 7 I think we're using currently. We'll upgrade to build 8 shortly. So this is going to be pretty experimental. There will be a lot of things that may not be representative of the final game. This is the game I am creating, and yeah, it is set in 150k ARD, which is that's a date. It's a date, pretty sci-fi. If you know, Starships and Laserguns is kind of like what the fuck do you call it? Shadowrun meets Stars Without Number, pretty much. It's space. It's kind of tactical, and yeah, it's a thing. Hopefully it'll be cool. We hope you enjoy. I do have a little intro video that we will run first, which is a little bit of setup about what the current events are going to be. The players already know about. So I will just go ahead and roll that. 164 hours, 32 minutes and 53 seconds after the ACSS Level 4 cartographic vessel Distant Suns failed to return to Ignus Prime Deep Space Starport, the following message was received.
This is the captain of the ACSS Distant Suns. We found something up there. It's a ship of some kind, but it's bigger than anything I've ever seen. Looks organic, but I think it's a starship. Getting closer to investigate. Wish us luck.
Critical engine failure detected. Shields offline. Critical power plant failure detected. Critical life support failure detected. Mayday, Mayday. This is the automated distress beacon of the ACSS Distant Suns. Mayday, Mayday. This is the automated distress beacon of the ACSS Distant Suns. Mayday, Mayday. This is the automated distress beacon.
Nearly 6 months later, the Distant knows a Level 5 ACS vessel launches from Ignus Prime as the flagship of a small fleet in search of answers. The ACSS Adventure, a Level 4 cartographic ship, finds herself one such vessel among the gathering fleet as they await the signal to depart. And welcome back. That is a little video, 3D rendered. I'm way too proud of it. So, we will begin, as you should see, at the Ignus Prime Deep Space Starport, which is a starport on the edge of known space. Middle of nowhere, really. It's a little spaceport. There's a few richer asteroid belts, that kind of stuff around, some mining operations going on nearby. There's one inhabited planet that has an inhabitant count that's less than 1 million. There is not very much going on around this place normally, but over the last month or so, the station has been well beyond its maximum capacity, constantly having to turn down traffic requests, constantly running beyond what it could imagine, as part of the small exploration outfit that runs out of here, attached to the ACS Allied Cartographic Society. One of their ships went missing. The Distant Sun. And that in itself wouldn't be all too much to speak of, but after the Holonet picked up on it, and the Holonet news notably picked up on the transmission after it was late, there have been conspiracy theories of all kinds going around, and as such, the disappearance of the Distant Sun has managed to stay inside the public eye for now, and the Ignus Prime Starport has managed to put together a small fleet. They've contacted their ACS contact, who contacted some other people inside the ACS who did, and so on and so forth, until they got their hands on a super freighter class ship, an ANO super freighter, which has been outfitted, retrofitted, stripped down, and They've redone the engine, they've redone the drive, they've beefed it up for exploration, and that is now been renamed the Distant Knights. Second-hand ship, but they're a sturdy variety. And acting as a mobile starport more than anything, the Distant Knights is leading a small fleet that will be setting off pretty promptly. Aboard the Distant Knights, the Distant Knight herself, there is a significant number of crew, including one in particular, Leodanikeriath, I think, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Leodanikeriath.
Leodanikeriath. I wasn't pronouncing it correctly. And we have, on one of the other ships in the fleet, the ACSS Adventure, Charlissandra, Johnny, and Lexie. The ships depart from warp at the station around 7 AM station time, which is pretty meaningless on a station this size, because a station this size doesn't work under artificial starlight, or under realistic starlight, or on an orbit, or of any kind. The time exists solely to keep everyone sane. And around that kind of time, at 7 AM, the large fleet sets out. Every channel, every possible means of communication, flaring up briefly with a single phrase for the sun, before a few hundred little blips of ships jumping into warp and hyperspace. Well, it would be the first rendezvous point that is set for the fleet is deep within the Ifrit sector, which is where the distant sun disappeared. It is deep within this sector that the yes, it would be about, let's see, about 6, maybe 7 hours of travel in warp, with little to no communication to the rest of the fleet at such speeds as blue shifting and red shifting of light, even through hyperspace and subspace communication arrays, make them nearly ineffective at warp travel, or in hyperspace. And as such, it will be about 6 to 7 hours before the rest of the fleet will arrive. Each of the ships moving at their own speed, but mostly arriving within about an hour's period. However, at the first rendezvous point, Johnny behind the main console of his ship, observing the view screen, Lexie and Charlissandra probably not far behind, watching on a huge vid screen on the wall. As the brief flash of light, the drop shield comes up, drops, and as they exit from warp, finally you can see stars around you. Hundreds, thousands, maybe more. But that's it. There are just stars. There's no planets. You don't appear to be near any star. You're at the rendezvous point. It was set for deep space, but it looks like you're the first ones here.
Well, guys, welcome to the Ifrit sector.
I imagine I'm just listening to music or something, just not giving a shit.
Well, it looks empty.
Yeah,
Do you know when the rest are getting here?
I mean, we could be first. It would surprise me, but we could be first. Charlissandra, why don't you just plot a course back to the station? I'm gonna boot up the scanner, see if we catch anything.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Charlissandra finish the plotting first,
Okay.
so we have a way out of this place, and then I'm basically all power to the scanners. I'm gonna find anything that is within reach.
Okay.
I don't care if I get spotted.
An exploration ship, such as the Adventure, would have significant sensors. In fact, in the little video you should have seen, There are 3 large sensor rays extruding from the front of the ship. Usually a weak point on military or even civilian vessels. They're not particularly fond of having large external sensors, but on an exploration ship they provide an invaluable aid. Your sensors will reach for anything within about a light year pretty quickly. You boot them up. It'll take a few moments to scan after Charlissandra's plotted a course. And you sit, you wait, and as you watch, nothing appears on sensors. And you wait. And
I'm gonna
you wait
check
some
the
more.
time. How long has it been since we jumped from the station?
You check time. It's about currently it's about 13 o'clock. It's about 1 o'clock. 6 hours.
So that's how many hours? 6 hours. Well, guys,
Can
guess
I check
we're early.
Can I check the coordinates to make sure we're definitely at the place that we said that we were meeting?
Sure.
Be my guest.
You head over to the console and just double check the coordinates, pull up the set on your data slate and check again, and everything does seem to check out.
Do we have any communication with the rest of the fleet?
You open up the subspace comms array. You try hailing them, but you hear nothing but static, although that's not too unusual for ships moving at faster than light. It's often impossible to reach them.
Well, it only took us 6 hours. We could just be early.
Possibly.
Yargon, how readable is it when a space exits warp? How much of a signal does that emit to be caught on passive scanners effectively?
So,
So I can just be passively listening in.
as I
The ship
mentioned,
sitting here, not making too much noise.
as I mentioned the drop shield earlier, it's as a ship travels at warp speed, it contracts space in front of it and expands it behind it, which means the ship itself is actually barely moving at all relative to the space around it, but space slightly further than that, it's moving at one hell of a whack. Faster than light, actually. As it does, it builds up this massive front of radiation, kind of like a shockwave in front of it, similar to a sonic boom from an aircraft. And when the ship drops out of warp, they have a shield that is part of the warp drive itself that is specifically designed to catch that energy. And it never does so particularly well, and one of the ways it does this is it converts it to visible light from X-rays and gamma rays. And that shield is only up for a brief fraction of a second and then it's gone. But that flash of light, it's not perfect. There is always some leak through. And it is very noticeable.
So I could have my ship running fairly quiet, just passively listening
You
for
could.
any of these flashes.
You could.
Then, well, guys, I suggest we leave the ship idle. Just wait for the rest to show up. If they're not here within 2 hours, then we might have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the whole fleet will miss the coordinates.
Possibly. Quite possibly. Like, we seem to be in the right place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate deep space rendezvous. Nothing to see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up the star charts and look for the nearest planets.
Nearest system.
interesting system.
The nearest interesting system. A lot of the stars around here are just marked with little dots on your map, and that's all you've got. This is the edge of known space. There's who knows what in most of these stars. Some of them have a little bit of detail, and some of them have been mapped properly. Those that have been mapped properly, mostly behind you, but a few of the ones up in front, they could be as close as 3 light years, maybe. It's about,
So not too far at all.
well, depends if you have to walk.
I don't. I
How long-
assume.
How long should it take for the rest of them to arrive, or should it all?
It entirely depends on their ship's hull mass, the ship's drives, every little detail. That said, it's expected that most ships would be able to make it in 7 hours. You're here in 6, you made good time.
Alright, so we're
You would expect some of the smaller ships to be here either before you or very quickly, very shortly after. But things like the Distant Knight may even take up to 8 hours. It may take longer because it's a much bigger ship and they just don't have the same drive speeds.
Alright, so it's not unusual that the fact we're here first then?
It's
Or too unusual?
It's not too unusual, but it's a little strange. You don't know the rest of the fleet as it is, but
Aye.
you would have thought that some of the ships, you've seen some much smaller ships, you'd think they would get here first. As a rule, smaller ships tend to go faster.
Well, this is a good boost to my ego.
So, as you sit yourself, you strap in, you consign yourself to wait. And you wait.
I'll be listening in on all,
All frequencies.
well, not all, the frequencies that the fleet had agreed on, and the emergency frequencies.
So, subspace and...
Checking the scanners.
Yeah.
I'll
Basically
go
waiting.
and sort of have a proper look myself, see if there's anything the scanners miss or anything of interest.
Okay. You double and triple check the scanners and you go through and you know these systems like the back of your hand, but no, it appears everything's in working order. You're just the only ones out here.
Alright.
And you wait. And you wait some more. And you wait a little bit more. And after about an hour, it begins to get a little concerning as to why there's no one here. And you keep waiting. About an hour and a half in.
I have checked the coordinates 5 times at this point, probably.
They are
Make sure we're
correct.
in the right location.
It does appear to
Is
be
there-
correct.
Is there any backup coordinates? Second, Plan B rendezvous.
There is secondary and tertiary rendezvous points, but you would normally be expecting to wait longer, or for something to tell you to go there at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
There are...
I try comms again.
Okay. Yeah, you hail the comms, and this time you hear... Okay, go ahead and roll me perception,
Oh,
based
okay.
on hearing.
Let's see what my perception is. So that 14.
14. You hear something in the static. It sounds almost like a slight pattern.
I call over the other two to try and hear it, see if they can understand it.
You guys go ahead and roll me perception.
Yeah, I'll just open it up on my
Okay,
console.
what is it we have to roll again?
So just if
What's
you
that?
if you look in the macros, I've added a roller stat and knowledge. Go ahead and just hit roller stat. You probably don't have proficiency, and then just whatever your thing for perception is. 13. Yeah, Johnny, you hear it as well. And 11. That's a critical fail. Charlissandra, you can't quite make it out. You make out a few things. You can't really make out a pattern, but you definitely hear something that sounds a little off. Johnny and Lexie, you definitely hear a pattern.
Is this
I-
coming from subspace?
Yeah.
Can I try and work out what kind of pattern it is and sort of like, if there's noise, like write it down and see if there's Morse and just sort of go through some sort of common patterns?
Okay. Let me bring up my... Actually, no. Yeah, so... what exactly are you doing? You're looking for Morse code or any other kind of codes
Yeah,
that...
just sort
or
of like
binary codes, that kind of stuff.
common codes. If it's like a thing, I might try and look at, scan it or whatnot, and just sort of have a wee look and see what I can find.
Okay.
Try the sort of common things to start off with.
You start going through this, you try and work out if it's Morse code, you note it down. Doesn't appear to be that. You look through a few other different codes that are developed over the years, similar to that, a binary, a trinary system, that kind of stuff. Doesn't appear to be anything that you recognise. And then let's say that would take you about 10 to 15 minutes to do.
In the meantime, Lexie, I'm gonna fire up the scanners again, see if we can catch anything in the meantime.
Can I try and boost the signal to try and make it clearer?
Okay. Go ahead and roll a technology or technical or whichever one it is for the stat.
Right, let's go with technical.
Let me.
Can I help with that? Oh, never mind.
I got
stat.
-3 successes, so please.
The stat, not the knowledge.
Oh, not the knowledge. Whoops. Oh, thank fuck. Thank fuck. The stat. So, technology.
Yeah.
Can I help with that before any roll is made here?
16.
Too late.
No, you wouldn't be able to be an engineer type thing.
Dude.
Calm yourself.
Like, I'll shove it through like a noise filter and boost the signal and all that. Just.
Yeah, okay. With a 16, you put it through some typical noise filters. Subspace is a bit unpredictable. It's still not really that well understood, but you go through and you get a rough idea, and the more you put it through, the more you think you've got an idea of what's going on here. And Gav, stop. Where is it? Print. Okay. And the more you listen to it, it sounds like just a very simple thing. So, like a like a very simple repeating.
Okay.
That appears to be 1 1 2 3 5 1 1 2 3 5 1 1 2 3 5. It's Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah. Do I know where the source is, or can I work that out?
It is in subspace somewhere.
Okay. So do I know rough direction, or do I just know?
You have 3 arrays on your ship. Not 3 arrays, 3 sensors on your ship, which means you can get a very... They're at the front, so it's not the best, but you can triangulate a position with it. It's pretty rough, but it does sound to be coming from the direction you came. And it appears to be getting closer.
I say we move just slightly out the way, just like slightly further away from the rendezvous,
Yeah.
so we're still within range. Just that if something's coming,
Yeah,
we're not
good
directly
shout.
in front of it.
The moment you say that,
Guys,
There's-
go orange.
there is an excruciatingly bright flash of light from the vid screen, which quickly dims itself as the distant night drops out of warp directly next to you. So close that you guys are actually flung slightly from the dissipating of the warp field. As it does, it sort of rocks your ship to one side, knocking you off your feet a little bit.
Bloody hell.
I've got a feeling we're going to get a bit of a yelling at.
I'm gonna, first and foremost, move the ship out of harm's way.
While he's doing that, I'll
And-
hail them and try and get some communication.
Okay. You get a basic channel. It seems to open.
Yeah.
Um,
I asked them where they've been and where everyone else is, because we shouldn't be the first ones here. We are, and we're also the only 2 ships as far as we know.
you get that. You hail them. You get some little bridge officer. It's a Dulac woman who appears to be somewhat inept at what she's doing. Is typing away on a keyboard furiously and yes, hang on, I'll put you on. And it's like clearly looking around for the right button. It's very new by the look of it. And eventually,
Would I know where the button is?
no, because you wouldn't recognise the console on this ship.
Okay, so I wouldn't. Alright.
Um,
Do I know what it would look like at least and try and describe it to her to try and speed her up?
yeah, you probably would.
I do text the board and go, you want the button that's got the
big red
the
button that
bolt
says detonate.
says send to captain. Press that button.
Yes, I know that. And she presses that, and it whoop, the view of this officer looking a little bit flustered suddenly changes to, you can now see the whole bridge of the ship laid out in front of you. A single seat up front with a sort of a red Freyan officer, by the look of it, wearing some kind of uniform. It looks pretty much the same as a naval uniform, but instead of the usual black, it's a sort of dark navy blue, and the sort of white instead of blue epaulets. And
I'll
Do we
bring
have-
the screen up on my end as well
Yeah.
so it pops up on your end, and
and show myself.
Do we have video communications or is it just audio?
it's
Or is
video.
it both-way video? I
Two-way
sort of
video,
do,
yeah.
I do an awkward two-finger wave sort of thing, just sort of a hello, and just sort of go, where is everyone? Like, where?
The captain sort of looks at you for a minute. And ACSS number 4 Adventure, is that correct?
Yeah.
A firm, Captain.
Good. Where is everyone? We're only reading
That's
you on
what
our
we're asking.
scanners.
Because we've been here for how long have we been here? About an hour?
About an hour and
2
a half
hours.
at this point.
Hour and a half. We've been here an hour and a half. We shouldn't have been the first ones here. We were, and you're the only other ship that's arrived. So
That's not
That's the thing.
correct. Have you checked all subspace channels? Have you done full frequency scans? Have you? And he starts listing off a number of different things like
I'd
that.
imagine
Don't
I've done
frequency
All of
Frequency
which
scan.
you've done at least 3 times.
I just sort of continue the list halfway through and just sort of finish it off.
Looks a little bit annoyed at that, but doesn't say anything. Right.
You know.
Okay, that's good. Well, where are they? Did you find
That's
anything?
what we're trying to ask you. I check if the signal's still coming through the Fibonacci one.
No.
Um,
Actually, yes, it's a lot clearer. There's no longer any noise. In fact, it's quite loud. It's right next to you.
all right.
I mute that channel.
Yes.
He looks at you confused at the sort of the boop, 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 boop,
We had a
boop, boop, boop,
Fibonacci sequence thingy coming from
And then
you, I
repeat.
think.
boop. What? And
Okay,
he
You're
looks around.
emitting
Who the hell?
the-
Somebody turn that off.
Alright,
you
it
see
is
that?
you. I was just checking.
You see that same communications officer, a blue-skinned Delag, goes a bright sort of purple colour and starts furiously tapping buttons until it... And you know, after about a minute that the
Ofcoms.
little channel turns, goes dark.
Right. Yeah. We don't know where everyone is. We've scanned. We can't detect anyone within a light year of here. And well, yeah, I can't see anyone. This is the right coordinates, so whether something's just
Clearly.
went wrong in the late or what, I don't know.
What's your maximum fall-off distance for your scanners? Which is 1 light year. That's your,
1 light
your
year.
range.
1 light year.
Right. Ours is a little higher than that. Alright. We'll drop beacons around this area. Or more to the point, we'll send out shuttles 2 and 3 to drop beacons. Do you think you'll fit in the docking bay?
I would
Depends
imagine.
how big your docking bay is.
It is about a metre longer than your ship. And without the warp rings extended, it's significantly wider.
So, just.
If Gav's a good pilot.
So, okay, so I'm.
Well,
Is he a good pilot then?
just relay over comms. Captain, theoretically we do fit within the docking bay, however, we have literally 1 meter spare. So you might want to get every single aid to
I
guide us
give
in
a
there.
very concerned look at the captain.
Okay, we'll send the shuttle to you. Alright, here's what we'll do. Without the rest of the fleet here, I guess that leaves me in command. I was in command anyway. It doesn't really change very much. Look, I'm going to send over one of our scientists with you, and we will... Yes, I need you to go and look for any kind of unidentified signal, any kind of signal, distortions, anything like that. We'll give you beacons to drop that should be able to boost the range of your sensors significantly, but only in a little area. You think that would work?
Yeah,
We can work with that.
we can work with it. Yeah. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
Remind me, Captain, which are the exact coordinates the distant sun went missing?
If we knew that, we wouldn't be out here searching for her, would we?
Closest thing we have?
The Afrit sector. Any attempts to narrow anything down beyond that have been hopeless. That in itself is of concern.
Do you think we can use our 2 ships and a couple of beacons to triangulate anything if we do pick up a signal?
Triangulating things shouldn't be difficult, but you'd have to pick up a signal.
Well,
Well,
we'll
if we
start
pick-
from there then.
I think we need to look for any kind of signal, see if we can find the fleet. Maybe they got scouted somehow.
That's a lot of ships to go lost. Admiral?
I guess.
You
Yeah.
got any idea on what could have happened so they're not here, or do you want to just? Yeah. This is strange. That many ships don't go missing that easily.
No, they don't. Unfortunately, I've no idea. We normally would have at least... I don't know, unfortunately. There's not really anything to go off yet. We'll have to look for them and see if we can find any evidence of anything.
Yeah.
Do you have a full list of the ships in this fleet? Ship type, model, year, whatever? Any information?
Supposedly, but it may not be complete.
So we have the... well, so the official list then.
Yes. That's all we can really hope for. I'll send it your way now. And he taps away on a
Thank you
console
kindly.
on his on the arm of his chair, and you get a list beamed over to you. Thankfully, it's a list of ship
If you
types, ship names.
Sure.
They're
We'll
all
look
about
in-
as
look
cliche
into
as
that.
yours.
Yeah. I'll just give a quick look over the list and see if there's anything that looks a bit dodgy or wrong with it. But yeah, I'll just wait for the scientists to know that to arrive. Probably at this point.
The dodgiest thing about that list is the names on it. It's like there are no less than 3 ships called the Wanderer, one of them called the Seeker. So they're explorers. They're not inventive.
I just before I walk out the door, the place to get the air rock ready for the scientists coming over and all that. I just sort of go to the captain of the other ship. Some of these explorers weren't very creative, and just walk out before he says anything.
Yes, that's an unfortunately common problem, he says.
I'm not in the room to hear it.
Gavin, Johnny and Charlissandra.
Yeah. Well, Admiral, we'll have a look over at these at the ship list, see if there's any correlation between all the missing ships, I suppose.
Right,
Let us know if you find anything.
we'll do. We'll send up 2 of our FTL-capable shuttles, but we'll stay here in case anyone shows up. This
Very
would
well.
be where everyone should arrive if they just late or something.
I just sort of text
Alright.
Johnny at the moment, tell them to move slightly away so they don't have.
Oh yeah, I already have.
Right. No, I'm tell them so they're not in case.
Oh right.
Yeah, because we don't want that happening again.
Can do. Admiral, I would advise moving the ship slightly away from your current position. You almost smashed into us. And the smaller ships would probably smash themselves to bits against the distant knights.
Ah, good thinking. And you see a number of thrusters along the outside of of his ship just begin to light up. Huge thrusters. Some of them even like literally the exhaust the size of your ship. So they begin slowly pushing the distant knight, maneuvering it, just pushing it downwards relative to you. It's a very big ship. Yours is not.
Admiral, what is your what's the range on your comms?
Our comms near unlimited. We can hit anywhere but far away from here.
All right. If you need anything, give us a shout, and we'll be there as soon as we can.
Will do. We'll
Yeah.
keep you apprised if anything happens, but unfortunately, I don't think there's all that much to happen. You know how it is.
I fear as much. Well, I'll keep you informed as well. Who are you sending over?
We'll send over Leo. Right. Distant
Sure
Knight's
enough.
out. He hits the comm.
At this point, I've probably
Adventure
stepped up,
out.
so Leo can just sort of just walk straight in. That also being said, I don't know he's called Leo.
Okay. So, a few minutes go by as you wait before you see a pair of shuttles. They're kind of like shuttles. They got these huge rotating thrusters on the side, 4 of them, with sort of stubby little wings on them. And then at the back they have 4 much larger engines, kind of sleek, narrow pointed front. And you look at them and Gav, roll me a... What would this be? It would be a... general knowledge and add your starships to it.
General knowledge and add my starships to it. Sure thing.
One success.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, these shuttles that he is talking about are light freighters.
Okay then.
CEO4 light freighters to be exact.
What are we?
Yours is custom built exploration craft.
Alright.
But not too much bigger, I take it.
A little bit, but not much. These, by the look of them, might only have 1 deck as well. You've got 2.
Double-decker bridge.
Alright, I'll make sure one of the cabins is in good shape
Okay.
to receive another crew member. Then head over to the airlock as well.
So, these 2 ships jump away, and you see them jumping out at sort of one Lozani. Phew, phew, as they jump off. And then, a few moments later, you see something that's more akin to an actual shuttle. It's a very small craft with what appears to just be a small door at the back, just lowers down out of the hangar bay, makes its way over to you, and requests permission to dock, and as it pulls up alongside,
Permission granted.
the airlock sort of extends out of the side as they do, away out of the sort of warp covers, and chung, chung, as they sort of lock together. Doors hiss open. And on the other side is... I think now's a good time. Why don't you describe yourself? Leodanikeriath.
He's a dragon on the somewhat tall side, about 270 centimeters. He's wearing what kind of looks like you'd imagine an explorer to be wearing. You see like a spear poking out of his back. He is like orange colored, just overall. And he just slaps his hand and starts rubbing. Ah, finally something to do.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Why don't
Welcome aboard.
the other
What
3
have
of
you
you...
found?
Welcome.
Yeah, why don't the 3 of you also describe your characters?
Uh,
Johnny, you go first?
Yeah, Johnny is well, he's kinda loosely dressed at the moment. Jeans, leather jacket, maybe a hat on.
Terran.
Terran, indeed. He dwarfs in comparison to you, with a height of only 1.7 meters and weighing a meager 70 kilos. You could crush him. And he has a pistol hol. Actually, no, he's on a ship. He wouldn't even have his pistol holstered.
Charlissandra?
So Charlissandra is small for a dragon, still 2 meters. I was actually getting the character art up, but basically bluish skin, has basically a katana-like sword over her back and a smaller, like, second-hand blade. A rifle also stashed away somewhere there, and wears a black hoodie, mostly with the hood up, and pants, although I don't remember what kind of pants. Doesn't really matter even. Where did it put this one?
I am also currently attempting to find it, because Rick actually has properly
There we
commissioned...
go. Black pants with a bit of orange detailing to it.
Yeah, because Rick actually has properly commissioned artwork for Charlissandra.
How many stripes on it?
It's in the book.
6
Oh,
or 7. I don't know if the top one is a stripe.
is that like Adibas, Adidos? What is it?
No. There we go. There's a picture of Charlissandra. Finally got it up.
Red button. Or red now.
You are really quiet there, Lewis.
I wasn't talking about, to be honest. Let me
You're
move my mic closer as well.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
better.
Oh, that's not vertical stripes along the length. Never mind.
Nope.
Oh no, not those stripes.
Okay, and Lexie, what do you look like?
I'm just sort of a. Lexie's a 1.9 meter tall Terran that's currently is just in sort of casual wear with like a hoodie and nothing fancy or anything on the moment. But I do still have a scythe on my back, just casually on there, just sort of
Sort of folded
But-
up, but yeah.
yeah, folded up on my back, but it's still like massive on my back sort of thing. But apart from that, like I'm just in casual wear, 1.9 meters tall, just sort of very sort of slouchy, just not really, yeah.
Mhm.
Just sort of there.
So I'm the shortest by far.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Boy.
yeah.
So,
Like-
what have you found so far?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, come on. Disappointing.
We did find a very interesting Fibonacci sequence caused by your ship.
You can always go back if you don't like it.
I mean, no.
I mean, if you're really bored, I got an empty cabin set up for you. You can decorate if all you like.
Well, that would be something to do at least.
Either way, my name is Johannes Vandenberg. Crew calls me Johnny. You make up your own mind, and I'll extend my hand.
I'm Leodanikeriath. And I'll shake your hand.
Leodanikeriath. Pleasure to have you on board. So, what's your field of expertise?
Biology, mostly.
Oh,
Well, I got a bit tired of just sitting in a room researching. I want to actually go out, find things.
well, welcome to space exploration, my friend, where you're sitting in a room flying.
Ah, I should have known.
Yeah.
I'll sort of get him in and close the airlock and sort of decouple and sort that out.
As
Yeah.
you...
I'll extend my hand. Hi, I'm Charlissandra. I'll give a little bit of strength off behind that handshake, of course.
He'll do the same if you put some strength behind it.
Do we roll? Who has the strongest handshake now?
Oh my
Who has the higher strength?
Don't know.
I have a 4.
2.
So, okay. Yeah, Charlissandra's is.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit firmer.
Um,
As you are, you go to decouple stuff, this hologram of what appears to be a Terran woman sort of flickers to life in the middle of the small, what do you call it? The small shuttle, and hey, Leodanikeriath, hey, take these. She points over it where there's a few large, sort of beacons. They're about half a meter in diameter, about 2 meters tall. These huge sort of cylinders with this rounded top and a rounded bottom, but they do have little legs. And they've got what appear to be like solar panels folded to the side, and there's sort of exposed wiring and stuff all across them.
Oh, right. Sorry, got a bit excited there.
I sigh, stop decoupling, and just help move them all across quickly.
Yeah. They're actually surprisingly light for what they look. They're really quite light, but as you move them over, she says, "Just, I'm sure you know what to do with them. I'm sure." And then she's gone. Just flickers out.
Well, I assume one of you knows what to do with them.
Ditch him out the airlock if we need a signal boost.
Play with them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, let's play with them. I undock now.
Okay. Yeah, there's the sort of the low chung that you more feel it through the ship than you actually hear it as the other ship detaches and then drifts away silently.
I
By the way,
I finally turn around to Leo and so I'm Lexie and give him the sort of like 2-fingered wave thing. I'm just, yeah.
How many beacons is it?
It's 6.
by the way, just on a side note, you shouldn't let my character handle any technology. I got a -4 in that.
Oh boy.
And with that, I start looking at them to see exactly how they work, and so we can do the thing and see if there's a manual as well. Just so we can chuck that in the bin.
There's no manual with them.
Damn!
Um,
I needed some kindling.
roll a technical knowledge.
Technical knowledge. All right.
In the meantime, I'm gonna show Leodanikeriath to his bunk.
0 successes.
Okay. It doesn't look too complicated, but you'd need to take one apart to know how they work.
I called Johnny over and asked if I could take one apart.
Are you kidding me?
No.
We'll
Can I?
decide about that later.
Don't pretend you're not interested.
Well, I'm definitely am.
Yeah. So I know how they work, I just don't know how... Or, I know how to use them, I don't know how they work.
Yeah, kinda.
Right.
It doesn't look too complicated, but you don't know the specifics.
Right. I'll just, put, all of them in position so I can easily use them to use them.
Yeah, do we have some trash exhaust somewhere?
You
And do they fit through it?
you probably don't have a trash exhaust, but you can store them in like a container in the airlock.
Yeah.
You'd have
fair. Well,
on the walls. You'd have actually quite deep, big cabinets designed for EVA suits, and you would have a few sort of all-fit EVA suits. But I don't think you guys. Do any of you guys have EVA suits?
nope.
No, they're expensive.
Don't think I did, no.
Yeah. Yeah, they are quite
Don't think
expensive.
I
You've
do
got these
either.
sort of emergency ones,
No.
but they don't actually help you do anything. They'll just stop you dying. And so the cabinets are free, so you can just slot them in there.
Yeah, I'll just sort of get them ready so I can easily use them, but make sure they're
Yeah.
secure enough that they don't just fall over and get in our way.
It's easy enough done. Just sort of
Aye.
shove them in, close the door. Yeah.
As Johnny's like leading me to my room or whatever, have you spotted anything like planets or yet?
Oh yeah, there's a few planets around. There's plenty of uncharted systems. There's a few charted ones up ahead. Most of them are behind us though.
Well, if you don't mind, could you send data to my tablet?
Sure. I'll get around to that when I'm back at the console.
Yes, I'll just for now start make sure everything is in place here.
Oh,
You can effectively remote...
Leodanikeriath.
Sorry.
One thing. Few procedures, let's call it, you need to know around this ship. Got a few color codes here, in case I need to shout something real quick and don't want to waste any oxygen or time explaining the situation. A code yellow is effectively when I need you to get in the nearest seat and buckle up. You can expect that one when we go into warp, get out of warp, or go for a landing, planet side, or whatever. Code orange is a tad more serious. Basically means you need to be at combat stations immediately and expect combat at any moment. Code red is guns free. That's when we're in combat already. And I'll give you a code blue when everything's clear.
Okay.
For the record, Gav, you can effectively remote desktop from your tablet. If you pick it up, it's probably is actually just one of the screens for the console. Usually would just be a tablet. You pick it up, kind of. The screens are all just wirelessly connected to the main thing, and you can plug them in, but most of the time it just be wireless. So you effectively just carry it around. Just.
Sure. Well, I'd have my own data slate. If I can do it from there, I'll do it here.
Yeah.
Not carrying my console around.
Well, I don't really know about what you mean with going to my combat station, but everything else seems to be fine.
Well, just buckle up. We only have one turret. We'll put Charlissandra in there.
Whilst this happening, I'm just giving the ship a once over to make sure we didn't take any damage earlier when we had a little bit of an accident.
It doesn't appear like you've taken any damage. Everything appears mostly fine.
Yeah.
No, it looks fine. As you look through, you know, there was a few things sort of knocked about, but other than that, it's literally just the kind of turbulence that you weren't expecting. A few files fell off a shelf. There's no damage.
I'll just shove the files back on the shelf, probably. And then return to the cockpit.
The shelf that you would like to refer to as the rubbish bin, because those are manuals for your engine.
Tom, firstly, those manuals are no longer on the ship.
Oh my god.
We lost them years ago.
That's on you then, 'cause I would have kept those.
No, Gav, if you kept them
stored somewhere,
you would have hidden them from me. 'Cause
Captain's room is my bunk. You stay the fuck out of that. There we have it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
One rule, okay?
In that case, you see a few suspicious files, unmarked, lying on Johnny's bunk as you walk past.
I just ignore them because I don't want to hear the shit that I'll get by touching it. It's enough.
Fair enough.
Using manuals is admitting defeat.
We have a true engineer in our midst, guys.
Yes, we do.
Manual, what's that?
The only case, like, and also, other thing is, especially if they're engineering manuals, they will tell you exactly nothing.
Our ship repair philosophies are completely opposite.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, if they're engineering manuals, they will tell you exactly nothing. Like,
these ones
that's it.
can be quite useful. You're not dealing with sort of the kind of stuff you're thinking of, because it's a little more. You do have to sort of, you know, be able to use them, or you die. So they will tell you what you need to know. Most of the time, it's just
manuals.
a bit. It's just a bit.
There's the whole systems in there. There's operations in there.
Aye.
It's less like a manual for a bike and more like a manual for a plane.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at my chart sheet. I wonder what got into me when I put down 9 social knowledge and -4 communication.
God.
I'll be setting up my room and just start looking over the data to see if there's anything that interests me.
Okay. You see that there's a few systems nearby. They don't really note anything about them. All of the nearby systems are non-scanned at all, and they don't appear to have been observed to have any planets or anything like that. Because stations, like the one you came from, will often do things similar to how Kepler has been working. In fact, that's pretty much standard procedure these days. They just watch stars to measure dips in light level. They have a few remote things set up to do that, but other than that, that's the kind of passive observation. There are a few that appear to have some planets, but most of those planets you can see you actually don't care about because they're almost always gas giants. It's just not useful to you. Which are really common. But there are a few that don't appear to have particularly anything in the way of planets or anything listed by them nearby.
Can I go? Is there a larger sort of like computer screen sort of thing in like the communal area, or would the best, so the largest one that we've got access be in the cockpit?
There'll be the one on the bridge, which would be pretty big. One entire wall of the communal area. The wall that is, it would be against the hull, effectively. That entire wall would be one screen.
I go to that screen then and just sort of bring up any data that we sort of have and just sort of go through it and see if I can see anything by eye.
Okay. What kind of data are you bringing up?
Just sort of like photos of the area, bring up a bit of sound if there's any interesting sounds that being sort of thing, and just sort of go through it on the big screen so I can see everything easier. Like
Of pre-existing data, or what time are you looking
of
at?
the data coming in just now, like
Oh, okay.
The data from our scans?
yeah, from the scans and just sort of anything I sort of can sort of see that's useful.
Roll a... it's logic perception, I guess.
Oh god, how do you do that?
Oh, there's no macro for that yet.
Just logic
Sorry,
perception.
Let me just check. I'm not sure if this got changed. Stat plus stat.
There's-
Um,
Don't have any complex rolls yet.
yeah, so it's just add the bonus from both stats.
Alright.
It got simplified because it was
Oh,
dumb
boy.
levels of overcomplicated before.
Oh my
13.
god.
My god.
13!
And it's not a
I
crit
rolled a
fail.
5, but luckily I've got a +8!
It's not a crit fail. Yeah, so you... I keep going through it. There's an awful lot of stuff here. And sound-wise, it doesn't really appear to be that useful. All you're really getting from sound that you can tell is just the exhausts and the remnants of the exhausts from the Distant Knights and her little ships that she dropped out. So, you quickly shut that one off, and you're looking through visuals and passive scans and active scans and everything you can, but nothing really appears to be of interest. It all appears to just be empty space out here. There's just kind of nothing out here.
Aye.
You look through subspace scans and you get not a lot. Sorry, you look through hyperspace scans, you get kind of not a lot. You look through subspace scans, and you can't make anything out. You can't penetrate even an inch into subspace from what you can see.
Aye.
It appears there's something blocking your subspace, but it just the pattern of the noise. It appears to be a neutron storm.
Okay, so it's a neutron storm.
Oh.
I take note of that, and
Subspace is permeated by neutron winds. There are strings that attach large gravitational bodies, and that's what slip drives use. They effectively ride those strings faster than light. It's kind of compressed.
can I see how major it was, and from that tell whether or not it could affect why everyone's not appearing at the moment?
Well, Considering most drives are... most of the ships here were using warp or hyperspace, it would have no effect on them.
Wouldn't have an effect. Alright.
As you look through it, it does appear to be pretty major, but you can't really tell anything about it. You'd have to put your main sensors effectively through the aperture into slip space to be able to, into subspace, to be able to figure anything out.
How long would I need to do that for?
Well, to start with, you'd need a slip drive.
Oh, so we can't even do
It's
that.
kind of a
never.
theoretical. It's like, you could figure it out if you could take the tiny little aperture on the little subspace, because your subspace, communication thing, has a portal to subspace in it that it sticks a rod through, and that rod has a beacon on the end. It's kind of how that works. And only then can you get a signal through. And it's got tiny little scancers and that kind of stuff on it, but it's just not enough to pick it to really tell that much.
But we don't have subspace here.
If you had a subspace drive, but those are much faster. Although they only work between systems, they're much faster, but they just...
Those are the ones that go between mass, isn't it?
Yes.
Basically.
They're much faster, they only go between mass, and they're kind of really expensive for that reason. And also you need to have your ship hull upgraded and shielded and against neutron winds, and you need runners implanted and all that kind of stuff.
Alright. So most of them wouldn't affect anyone anyway.
Yeah, most of the time. It's sort of an, oh, that's interesting. And you look into it a little bit, but it doesn't really appear that it would have much of an impact.
It wouldn't have an impact, and it just is not going to do anything to affect us here.
Yeah, it's just kind of an, that's weird. Why is that happening? Because you don't usually get much in the way of neutron storms.
I take a note of it even still and shove it on the sort of list that will report to the Admiral. But yeah.
But yeah, subspace, real space, and hyperspace don't appear to be, from all knowledge, they are not affected by each other at all. Other than if you literally make a portal. Like that. Yeah.
Right.
It's not the Feywild.
I'll just get out my
Damn it.
out my room, looking at the data slats.
Mhm.
Head to the communal area. See, there is a massive screen with stuff going on.
I just
Just-
sort of give you a look and just go, it's easier to see this way. Like, just imagine
Huh.
it this way. Having a TV to look at something really small, or having a a screen for looking at something really small.
Why don't you just use a phone and a TV?
Or a phone and the TV or what, something like that. Like, it makes a massive difference when you're looking for something small.
Leo will just sit down, keep looking at his data slat, and once every while we'll look over what to figure out what you're doing.
I'm just having a wee look at everything. Like, and if you want anything interesting on it, I'll shove up so we can have a better look together or whatnot.
Over the PA system, you'd all hear a call. Yo, Lexie, have a moment?
I sigh and walk over.
Yeah, there'll be a little terminal in each room for that. Just on the wall by the door.
Yeah. I'll go over to wherever Tommy is at the moment.
Johnny.
Johnny.
In the cockpit, of
I don't
course.
know why I think you're Tommy at the moment. I just...
Because Tommy Krupp's a living meme.
Stop yourself.
I met him once, okay? I don't even remember who the fuck he is. up.
Wow.
He wasn't that memorable.
That is the best thing I've heard all day.
But anyway, I come in and just go, what do you need?
I was kind of thinking of a plan here. There's a little point sitting here in deep space. How about we go warp to the nearest star, give it a good old scan, drop a sensor to increase the range, see what's up, maybe find a few planets to keep Leodanikeriath. Oh my god, I can't wait for the scientists to trust us enough to give us his nickname.
I'm just calling him Leo. I can't be fucked giving him waiting for the nickname. He's Leo to me. But anyway,
I can't blame you.
Tom, from the sounds of it, did the Admiral want them in this system or any system?
The beacons are to help you. They're kind of at your discretion.
So wherever, right. I would say we put one down here. See what they sense. See if we can collect it back, maybe. Could possibly. Back. Could you reuse them if you collected them again, Tom?
You don't know because you don't know quite how they work.
Okay.
I want to try that.
Okay.
You can indeed.
Which sensors are gonna be better? The beacon or literally the distant lights?
I'm saying go a bit away from them. Do it. Bring it in. If it works again, try it again the next time. If it doesn't work again, bring it in and I get to take it apart and shove another one out. So sort of just have a wee bit of a look. But start here, considering we're already here.
You just want to dig around with the sensors, don't you?
Yes. I want to take it apart. I'm taking it apart. I'm not even wanting to. It's happening. Like.
We'll take one apart once we're in subspace.
Yeah. All right. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I say scan
However...
here because it can't hurt because we're close to the admiral. I need to quickly talk to the admiral before I head off because there's a neutron storm. It's nothing major, but it's just sort of something that might want to be known by
I mean, sure. I wanted to tell him where we're going anyway, but
yeah.
I'd suggest rather than possibly wasting its sensor here, we ask the distant lights for a full data scan.
Yeah.
Have them send the data to us, because something tells me that big a ship is gonna do a lot better than a wee sensor array.
Aye, quite possibly. But yeah, I think just sort of finish up here, head to one system around us.
Yeah, near a star. Simple as that.
Yeah, like maybe not even near a star, but yeah, there's what is there? Tom, I'm assuming the hexagons in the map you've given us are as systems.
No, they're not. They're just about 1 light year's distance.
Okay.
And the background is kind of arbitrary. It's a star map. Yeah.
Let's get what they've got, and from that we'll just sort of start having a wee look.
There's one about here. If you see the arrow.
There's one about what? Oh, star.
Is that the closest undiscovered star?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where's the what's his name? The distant night.
Right on top of you.
The distant lights. Yeah.
Right on top of us. All right. Yeah. Just see that we're heading that direction, and just say head off, but let it be known first.
Absolutely. Well, you want to prepare the ship then?
I'll call them in and tell everyone that we're just use the tannoy. I can't be arsed going through.
Right. I'll just press the button for the PA again. Attention everyone, we'll be going into subspace in half an hour. Please have your cabins and yourself secure.
And with that, I heal the distant star. Nights, was it? Or distant star?
Distant nights.
Nights.
Distant nights. And for the record, it would be warp, not subspace.
Sure.
Yep.
And I'm gonna start flying away so that we can warp safely.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the warp distance for a ship this size. Very small. Potentially inside of the shields of that ship. But you would actually you see in your on your view screen, you actually see the sort of hexagonal lattice red that has words just unsafe warp or warning just scrolling across it. Knowing you've probably been so bored you've changed all of the settings to look exactly how you want them. So it's probably custom text, but the default would say something along the lines of warning, drive damaging warp area.
Yeah.
That's still default.
You don't change the warning systems, because the warning systems are there for a reason normally.
You can change the text on them because it's obvious, you know? And it's one of those things, it's actually kind of recommended you have that kind of stuff set to exactly what you want. So that it flashes up, it's whatever's easy to you.
Alright.
Well,
warning unsafe warp or whatever, something along those lines.
Yeah. It's just if you warp from in there, you risk damaging your drive. But you aren't actually outside that area, so as you just sort of drift away.
Yeah.
On my half of the cockpit on my screen, it'll just say "Don't warp, you spawn."
You see the words
Oh my god.
scroll across, and then it just hits this invisible barrier, and the words change to "Don't warp, you spawn," and then they wrap around the back of the other ship, and then back as warning: unsafe. Don't warp, you spawn.
Oh my god.
It's just a line down the middle.
Yep.
Leo has figured out there's like nothing interesting for now planet-wise, so it just puts away these data slats, and it's pretty much doing what Lexie was doing before on the big screen.
Just looking through everything.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and roll me the same thing. So it's a logic plus perception.
How would advantage on perception be in whatever?
What's giving you advantage here?
Perceptive vision and hearing.
You have both.
Oh, you've got the both
Yeah.
of them?
Yes, perceptive vision will work here.
So that.
Is he
So roll it
this
twice,
sounds
basically.
as well, or
Yes. Oh. I should figure out how to make advantage on this.
That's a
Wait,
knowledge roll.
That's
Yeah.
knowledge.
Sorry. 5.
15 or 14. Okay, 15. Again, the neutron storm catches your attention, and you quickly sort of pass that over. That'll affect comms, but nothing really much else. And you keep looking through the data, but there's an awful lot of data coming in. There doesn't really appear to be anything that interesting out here. There's a few little things that maybe it's a sensor that's just twigging slightly, or something's not quite right, but it's just all around you. There's little things that just not quite right, but that could literally just be up to sensor noise. It's very hard to tell.
At like last minute, I'll scramble to get my rooms saved, so nothing starts flying around.
Sure thing.
Okay.
yeah, I will have healed the distant nights of this part.
Sure. The view screen flickers to life on your side. And actually, the big screen, it's just a little window pops up on your side, kind of next to you with... and again, you see that one officer who quickly presses the button with a sort of a shit-eaten grin on her face. And it pops up onto the main screen.
Yep. Hello, Admiral. Just quickly
Right.
saying, we're heading to the nearest star. I think we're going to go scan that area. Are you able to send over the scans that you've got, please?
Yes, we haven't actually completed a full sensor sweep yet.
Okay.
We can send you that shortly. It will
Yeah.
be... And he pops up and there's this little display pops up with the countdown. It's about 2 minutes away from done. And if you can
Aye.
hold off 2 minutes, we can send you that all over.
Yep.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. I've been looking at data, and we've noticed that there's a neutron storm acting in this sort of area. It shouldn't be nothing too major, but it's a thing that's happening, and it may be something that you want to know about, may not, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, we've seen it on our end. It's scrambling the comms a bit, but
Yeah.
a
That's
high
that.
power comms should get through. We should be fine.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, as I said, we're just heading over to that store there. Have a wee look. We'll scan on the way over. But yeah,
Roger that. Thanks for the heads up. Distant night out.
alright.
And he'll click the button.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll.
The little countdown that he had just pops up on your screen, just continues. And it's like millisecond precise, it's just like scrolling through super fast.
Bloody hell, Lexie, do you want that there?
What that? Yeah, I want
We're,
that.
we're jumping in 25 minutes, not 2.
I know, but we've
Oh,
got.
bloody hell.
It means I can go and look at it. I'll
Fair
go-
enough.
I'll go look at the data while you sort of sort shit out. Don't know what you
Yep.
need to do at the moment, but
Basically, get a safe distance and not be in
Aye.
warp space for a while. You know.
aye. Well, you do that. I'll go have a wee look at it and see if we can find anything.
Sure.
That's that.
Yargon, how long will it be to the nearest star in warp?
In warp drive, it is probably not going to be that long. 3 light years is probably going to be about half an hour.
Fair enough. So that's
Um,
not enough time to open up one of the sensors and have a look inside.
Yeah, not for 3 light years, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't rolled my technical yet, so...
What, to open one of the actual things up?
Yeah.
We can't do that while we're still here. We need to use it first.
I
Because
know.
if we don't come back with 6 scans using them, it might get a little bit messy.
Blame the aliens.
That's a bit racist, but alright. And with that, I would set it up so the data will automatically get sent to my data slab. Slate and head over to
Sure.
the big telly to start looking at it when it's through.
The computer systems you have on your ship, the main computer, is actually pretty good. They've got a kind of low-level AI type basis. It's not an AI, but it's this kind of very dull, dog-like awareness. You can give it simple commands like, send me that when it's done, and it'll just do it.
Aye.
And as you walk out the little timer, it just follows you along the wall. Projected as a hologram in front of, just next to you. It just follows you,
I start whacking it. Just
as you do.
put my finger through it just as a sort of natural thing.
You start just sort of messing with the hologram as you walk, and it sort of disperses kind of like a fog around your hand and like recombines as much as it can.
Aye. But yeah, I'll just go back into the living room and get ready to start looking at the new data.
Sure. So you walk back through, and all the data's still on the screen where you left it, but Leodanikeriath is just scrolling through some of it, having a look.
I'll tell Leo, shout over to Leo. We've got the data coming from the distant nights through in like a minute's time now. I'll shove that up and when it comes through.
Ooh, lovely. I hope there's something interesting there.
Aye. We're also planning to go to the star eventually when Johnny starts to be competent. That could be a while. But yeah, I'll set it up once the data comes through.
Thank you.
What's Charlissandra doing in the middle of all this?
Probably just a bit helping. Just
Cutting out a bit there, right?
making sure. Probably either just helping or cleaning her equipment.
Sort of sat in the corner just sharpening the blade of a sword.
Yeah.
Which way it's sounding shing, 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 that you're all very used to.
Is it a... No. It's CHS.
Cold hard steel.
Yeah. It's not cold hard plasma. What?
Well, CHS is just the company that makes them.
Yeah, I know.
But yes.
But yeah. I would imagine data's through by now or whatnot.
Yeah, so the little thing, it ticks red at 1 minute and then goes down, and about like 5 seconds remaining, you get the data come through, and it vanishes. It just actually turns to a sad face and then slowly fades away.
Turns to a sad face.
Because the data comes through before it's finished counting down.
I sort of try and move the sad face so it goes into a happy face.
You reach out and you try and grab it, and like your hand goes through it, but it responds to you, and you just turn it round, sort of turn the frown upside down, and it becomes a happy face.
Oh my
I love these out. I just look at Leo and just go, eh. I just sort of like shrug my shoulders like, why not? And shove the data up onto the screen.
I'll also have a look at the data in the meantime.
Yeah. Well, so it all appears next to the screen. Your data, which is filling most of the screen, sort of shrinks down into a tiny corner, and the rest of the screen fills up with way more data than you were looking at before. Go ahead and roll. Basically, roll again. Perception plus logic.
That was 8.
Mhm.
No, that's knowledge. Roll a stat.
Sorry, what am I rolling?
Nice. Perception plus logic.
24.
Oh!
Perception plus
So that's a
logic.
semi-crit, so that's 26, would that be?
Yep.
I finally rolled well. Yay.
26, 22, and Johnny, what are you going to get? 19. Okay.
Oh wait, perception, is that based on visual?
Yes.
One moment, please.
This is when you. Oh.
23.
Right.
Okay. So we have 22, 23, and 24. Good. Oh, 26.
Ha.
So,
Sorry.
Leodanikeriath and Johnny. It looks like the star that you are planning on looking at definitely is, it's got a few orbiting bodies. You can't really tell too much about them, but they're there, and they are the right size to not be gas giants. That's about all you can get. They exist. You see just a few more things. You also note that there is some kind of not quite sure what it is. Some pattern or signal that is appearing from this kind of direction.
Which
If
direction?
my map will let me ping it.
Where?
It is
I
about
don't think we...
that kind of direction.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do we have a distance?
You don't have a distance. You just have a. You're not close. They're not close enough to be able to triangulate it, so it's outside of their sense range. But they can tell that it's there. Something is.
Has the distant nights picked up on us as well? Or
Yeah,
they-
it's from their
Well,
data.
this is distant night's data.
I know, but does it look like they have been looking at it directly, or?
From the data that came over, you don't see anyone having noticed this.
Oh, okay. Do I see anything extra with my roll? or-
26. Let's see. Oh, you would note that one of the planets, one of the smaller planets in the star that you were headed to previously, does appear to have a ring system. But that's.
Does have a ring system.
It
that-
appears to have a ring system and maybe its own orbiting body as well. But that's about all you
Okay,
can really
so
get.
would
It's just that the rings might be sort of flat onto the star, because you get this really faint dip in light, and then this and it's just the way it looks, kind of like you might have a ring.
I mark that planet as interesting because it looks fun.
But
Uh,
that's the most you really get.
But
I'll mark down the position of the distant nights and the direction to the signal. So we can
Okay.
try and triangulate it later if we can pick it up on the sensors.
the other thing is, do I get a bit of an angle, or more of an idea where it's coming from, or do I just get nothing?
You get the direction. You don't get anything about range.
All right.
It's just too far away to be triangulated by range. But it does appear to be some kind of signal. It does look kind of artificial. Well, that's the best you got.
Okay. I go back into the thing and heal the admiral again.
Okay.
He must be getting tired of you, Lexie.
No one's tired of me. It's not possible.
Yeah, you say
I
that.
roll my eyes.
You say that, just the thing goes through.
Hello, Captain. We've just looked at your data, and we find a somewhat looking artificial source coming from this direction. I'll send them the direction and
Yeah.
also send them the part of the data that I mean.
He pulls it up and you see it appear as a hologram in front of him, and he scrolls through it a little bit. And you see it appear in a few other people around the bridge. There's 3 or 4 of them on the bridge. And you see actually there'd be 6 of them on the bridge. And you see 2 of the others have this data pop up. And they clearly look through it, and then one goes, "Oh yeah, I see it. It's right here." And he sends it over, and you see a bit change on the admirals. Clearly the thing you noticed is now highlighted in red. And, oh yes.
Do you want us to head over that direction,
Curious.
or what do you want to do with this?
Do you have anything on a distance to it?
No, but Tom, could we do a
One
quick
moment.
scan directly of that small area, and from that triangulate with them and try and get a rough distance from there?
A directed scan.
Yeah.
You can, because it's coming towards you. You have to kind of pick it up on a passive scan. And
Okay.
your scanners are not strong enough to pick this up.
Or they're not.
The distant
I'll
lights are.
interject. Admiral, do
Yeah.
you think the sensors will pick that up once we drop them?
Sensor beacons, they might do. It depends how
Head
far
over.
that is away. Has anyone got any idea? Looks around and the people on this bridge don't know.
We've got no clue here either, so it's possible that we could try scan with a beacon.
We'll head over to the other star, drop a beacon, try to get another bead on it from there.
Sounds like
Connect
a good
the
idea.
lines.
Yeah.
It looks like our best bet, so
We're going into warp in about 5 minutes from now.
copy that.
While
We'll be
we
there
do
for
that,
half an hour.
do you want to just sort of slowly jump towards there and see if you find it before us?
We'd rather stay here in
You'd
case
rather stay
anyone
there.
else shows up.
Yep.
I
No,
will.
that's fine.
I'll relay to one of our shuttles to head in that direction, but they're pretty slow, so you'll probably beat them to it.
Yep. No, that's fine. Just sort of slowly and rhythmically sort of go towards it. Might be a good start in working out what it is and where it is.
Yeah, usually a good idea. All right,
But yeah.
distant lights out. Any cuts to
Venture
transmission?
out.
Right then, so I'll just head back to the sort of communal area with the massive TV and just make sure everything's bunkered down, and then return to the cabin and help set up warp.
I'll announce a code yellow 2 minutes before warp.
Okay. So
I'll scramble over to my room.
you scramble over to your room. You look around. You notice that there is. It's one bunk. It's got a chair next to a desk, but it doesn't appear to be one that you strap. That's like strap downable. You look around.
You can't strap into the chair.
You can't. You realise you can strap into the bed though.
I'll strap myself into the bed, get a hold of my bag, get a hold of my spear.
It's well, your stuff would go in closed cabinets. There's no
Okay.
shelves or anything.
Well,
be
I'll
fine.
get a hold of my spear then.
Sure. Yeah. Basically, in case the gravity goes out, standard procedure.
And then I'll just sort of, as I said, set up and see what happens.
In the meantime, I would have noted down the planets which are like a reasonable distance away from the star we're going to. Like, not the ones that are way too close or way too far away.
Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know all three Goldilocks zones because it's what is it? It's ethanol, water, and ammonia. You know all three. You know there's only one planet that would fit in any of them, and it's in the water one. It's right in the middle. Looks pretty good. You're not really sure about anything else, but that's the best you got.
What's the sort of one with rings, sort of like?
That's actually the one that is, as you look at it, you start sort of scrolling through the data as you prepare to go into warp. That is the one that is in the water Goldilocks zone. So it looks like it's good temperature. Size-wise, not a gas giant, but you can't really tell too much other than that. It does appear to have some rings. It's the best you can really get, maybe, or it's just got a couple of orbiting bodies, or maybe it's just two and your sensors picked them up and scrambled them, but...
Right. Yeah. We'll have a wee look at that when we jump over, but yeah. I'll just make sure that we're ready then.
So, you're going to... We'll just sort of prepare yourself and then jump on out?
Yeah.
Yep.
So...
If anyone's not strapped down at the time, they can have a bit of a bumpy ride.
It's
That's their problem.
it's
Yeah,
a
their
little
problem, no mine.
it's a little bit of a sort of a lurch, but it's actually not that bad. And then once you're in warp, you can stand up and walk around like normal.
Yeah, the code green will be code blue will be announced then.
Although there is a... Oh, actually no, because never mind. So you have to strap yourselves in because there'll be a significant kick from the thrusters, which would be compensated slowly because your thruster compensation on the ship's not the best, because it's not a like a combat ship or anything. It's not designed for lots of manoeuvring. So it's a little bit of latency as you're all sort of pushed against your restraints and then flung back a little bit too far, and you jostled around a bit, and then it's smooth sailing. For the next half an hour, goes by pretty uneventfully. Unless anyone wants to do anything in particular.
I want to go have a look at one of those sensors and roll a technical knowledge myself.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, can I have another look, or am I not able to?
Not
There we go.
really, because
Not really.
it's
Alright.
yeah, you've kind of already failed the test once.
Damn.
Success is 4. Yeah, it does appear to be a relatively simple sensor beacon. It kind of acts like one of the main sensors that you've got on your ship. It's not quite as powerful in some areas, but it's much more powerful in others. It appears to be much better at picking up passive scans as to active ones. So whereas your sensors are really good for determining the rotation of a planet, the atmosphere, and all of that good stuff that you get paid for, this wouldn't get you much money, but it would pick up any communications in the area or that kind of stuff. It's much more a listening beacon. There's nothing that you don't see any reason why you can't reuse them. In fact, if you ditch it down, as long as you're within range, you should just be able to ping it and get all of its data. You just leave them there, and there's no reason you can't just leave it and pick it up later.
I
Okay.
would imagine us Gav looking at, Johnny looking at it and get the information.
Yeah. I'll inform
Sure.
you.
Do we have any rope?
You would have some cable on the ship.
Lexie,
Well, I was,
we're not tying the beacon to a rope out the back of our spaceship.
I was just going to say that for when we're there, so we can pull it back in easily. But we don't particularly want cable, considering it's conductive and that won't even mess with the scans.
I don't want something dangling out the back of my spaceship
Hey, you
so I
do
can
not-
start swinging
I
around.
don't know what you're talking about. Dongleberries are lovely.
The best.
Yeah, until they swoop around and smack you on the nose.
I don't know how big your dongleberries are, but okay.
I don't care how small those sensors are, they don't have to collide with neither my shields nor my hull.
Right. Fine.
If we'll pick it up, I'll maneuver the ship in there.
Aye, alright.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, the trip's pretty uneventful.
Okay. Before we continue, maybe we should call that part 1 of the video.
Maybe we should. How long have we been going for? 1.5 hours. Yep. Okay, so, thanks for watching. Hopefully things should be picking up pace a little bit in the next part, so, catch you then.
So in part 2.